So, did you figure out what your next video is going to be? Yeah, man, to be honest, I'm kind of struggling. I don't really know. Oh. What about some, like, homemade chicken nuggets? Yeah, that could be a good idea, like with a dipping sauce or two. Yes. What kind of sauce do you think I should make with it? Yes. That wasn't a yes or no question. Yes. What do you mean? Yes. Okay. What is this? Yes. What is wrong with you? Yes. Okay, stop. Yes. Yes. How are you doing this? Yes. Why are you doing this? Yes. Just stop, okay? Yes.
You heard the man. Let's make some dipping sauces. I figured it would be a fun challenge/activity to make a bunch of the most popular dipping sauces for fried chicken and taste them side by side with some homemade fried nuggies. So I'm going to take you through the recipe for each one, followed by a taste test where I give it a rating out of 10. I made 20 different sauces here and I split them into 4 levels of 5 sauces each. It starts with more traditional stuff and then it gets a little more interesting with more obscure stuff. But in order to taste these, we need a dipping vessel, so let's make some homemade chicken nuggets. I've got a pound or so of boneless, skinless chicken thighs that I'm chopping into pretty small pieces. I'm going to be eating a lot of these to taste all the sauces, so no hacking chalkers, please. To make these taste the best, I'm going to marinate them in some buttermilk. Just pour a good bit into a bag and then we'll hit it with some seasonings. I'm doing a good few pinches of salt and some freshly ground black pepper. A good bit of MSG because that makes fried foods taste even better. And pickle juice is traditional, but I like to use kimchi juice because it tastes a little more interesting. Just mix all that together with your hands and then realize you forgot to add a few glugs of hot sauce. And once all that's mixed, we can add our chicken pieces and let it marinate for a few hours or until you lose patience. We can use the meantime to make all of our sauces. But I'll go ahead and show you how I fry these. I'm just going to use equal parts of cornstarch, or you could use potato starch and then some flour. But instead of flour, I have this Korean pancake mix that I need to use. It has things like flour, potato starch, and MSG in it. Sometimes I use cake flour, but really any flour will work. Again, we're going to season the breading as well with some salt and pepper, garlic powder and onion powder, and then some paprika for color, celery salt, and then of course some more MSG. That gets mixed, and then piece by piece we're going to add in our marinated chicken pieces. Be sure to swirl the flour around and get them all coated, and then use your other hand to really press it in. I actually like to squeeze this breading into the chicken because I feel like it makes it a little more adhesive. Take your time with this step because it makes all the difference to get proper breading around your chicken. We want some crispy boys after all. Then I'll take these over to my wok where I have some canola oil heating up. I like to fry small pieces like this at around 370, so I use my candy thermometer to get this up to like 390 to make sure it has room to go down. And again, carefully lay the chicken in piece by piece. Use a spider to break it up, and in about 5 minutes you'll have some browned and crispy chicken. You can keep that warm in your oven at its lowest setting, but let's get to these sauces. So level 1 is going to be your most basic and fundamental chicken dipping sauces, the stuff that everybody eats. And number 1 requires no prep at all, just ketchup. So just squirt some ketchup into a cup and let's taste it.
Man, that's good stuff. Just really not a huge fan of ketchup, and I never will be. 5 out of 10.
Number 2 is just going to be your standard barbecue sauce, and I'll link my rib video where I make some homemade barbecue sauce. Let's see how it tastes.
The added flavors are a step up from the ketchup, but there's still room to improve. Solid 7 out of 10.
Number 3 is a classic homemade buttermilk ranch. So I've got a tablespoon of mayo and a tablespoon of sour cream, and then a small splash of buttermilk, adjust for your consistency, a tiny essence of grated garlic, so I'm using my microplane, a few drops of lemon juice, and then some freshly chopped parsley, dill, and dried chives. Finish with some salt and pepper, and that's a ranch that can go on anything. But how good is it on these nuggets?
I guess my skin color is showing because ranch tastes so good on a lot of things. 8.3 out of 10.
Number 4 is a standard honey mustard sauce. Got a tablespoon of mayonnaise, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and a tablespoon of honey, then like a teaspoon of yellow mustard and a small splash of lemon juice. Simple, tangy, and sweet. Let's try this one out.
That's an all-time classic, goes really well with chicken. It was probably my favorite chicken dip when I was growing up. 8.7 out of 10.
Number 5 is a buffalo sauce. So I'm adding 2 tablespoons of Frank's Red Hot sauce, 1 tablespoon of melted butter, a tiny splash each of white vinegar and W sauce, and then a small sprinkling of garlic powder. One of the most popular coatings for fried chicken. Let's see what I think.
I like buffalo sauce, but it's not my favorite spicy flavor. It's a bit too vinegary for me, but I would never turn down a good buffalo wing. That's a 6.7 out of 10.
Level 2 is going to be a little step up. Still some popular sauces that people dip their nuggets in, some fast food favorites, but just not as basic as the first ones. First, we've got a cheese dipping sauce. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of cheese whiz and then a little bit of milk or water to thin it out a bit, a small sprinkling of garlic powder and onion powder, and I'll admit this looks a little scary, but we must press on and taste.
I think cheese whiz and artificial cheese sauces have a place in cooking, but it's not the best thing to go with fried chicken like this. Just really don't like that flavor combination. 4.5 out of 10.
Second up, we have a fan favorite Chick-fil-A sauce. So I'm adding 2 tablespoons of mayo and about 2 teaspoons of honey. 1 teaspoon of yellow mustard and 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, and then a teaspoon of that barbecue sauce from earlier and a little garlic powder. This is a classic for nuggets for a reason, but what do I have to say about it?
Another classic flavor that pairs super well with fried chicken, obviously because of Chick-fil-A, 8.1 out of 10.
Next is a simple spicy mayo, so I'm just adding 3 tablespoons of mayo and about a tablespoon of sriracha, and that's it. I've made this tons of times for lots of different things, but let's see how I like it on these chicken nuggets.
Super simple essence of spice that pairs well with the creaminess of the mayo, but I guess I've had it too many times with seafood and sushi and things like that I relate it to that. So again, I feel like there's better spicy flavors to go with chicken. Solid 7.2 out of 10.
Number 4 in this section is cane sauce, which a lot of people love. This one is 2 tablespoons of mayo and 1 tablespoon of ketchup, a little sprinkling of salt, pepper, and garlic powder, a small teaspoon of W sauce, and then because I worked at Foghorns, which was similar to Cane's but better, I'm gonna add a small pinch of brown sugar like we did. Trust me, it makes it better. If you've never had this stuff, I recommend you try it on some chicken ASAP.
Another sauce that was literally engineered for fried chicken. It pairs super well. If you know, you know. That hint of brown sugar from my Foghorns days makes it better in my opinion. So I'm a little partial to this. It's gonna get an 8.6 out of 10.
Last up on this level is a sweet and spicy Thai sauce. You can buy this stuff already in a bottle, but we're gonna make it. I'm adding this to a small non-stick pan first because we have to simmer it briefly. You should use a red Thai chili here, but I couldn't find any, so I'm using a little bit of a red jalapeno that I minced up, a small grating of minced garlic, and then a pinch of white sugar, and a small splash each of rice vinegar, soy sauce, and fish sauce. We'll get that going over medium heat and stir it as it comes to a boil. You just want it to bubble and thicken for a few minutes until it's your desired consistency. And there you have your sweet and spicy Thai chili sauce.
It's a type of sweetness that punches you in the mouth, but that little funkiness from the fish sauce, it's really good. 7.1 out of 10.
Level 3 is another step up. We're going to get a little more sophisticated and a little more international. Starting with a classic teriyaki sauce. And again, I'm using my non-stick because I'm going to cook this. In goes 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of water, 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, and 1 teaspoon of honey. A tiny grating of garlic and ginger as well. That goes over medium heat and bubbles again. And right at the end, I'm going to add in a little bit of cornstarch mixed with some water. That will instantly thicken this up to where I want it. Teriyaki goes on everything, but how do I like it on chicken nuggets?
That soy sauce is very much forward in this sauce, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does leave a very strong salty aftertaste, so not my favorite. 6.8 out of 10.
Next up is a beautiful curry mayo, and it's super simple. 2 tablespoons of mayo and then a small pinch of curry powder, a few drops of lemon juice and a teaspoon of honey, and then some salt and pepper to finish. Let's taste test.
I will always love the flavor combination of garam masala and other curry spices. It's probably a little better suited for a curry or stew rather than a mayo for dipping, but I'm not mad about this one. 7.5 out of 10.
The next one is super simple. It's a chipotle mayo. In goes 3 tablespoons of mayo, and then a few spoonfuls of the sauce inside of a can of chipotles and adobo. One of the easiest ones on the list, but sometimes simple is better.
This is a spicy flavor that I'm looking for personally with dipping fried chicken. I don't know why, but that smoky spice from the chipotles really goes well with this. 8.4 out of 10.
And now we've got a sweet and sour sauce, a takeout classic. Back to my saucepan with 1 tablespoon of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of ketchup, a splash of vinegar, and an optional splash of pineapple juice if you have a can of those lying around, a teaspoon of soy sauce, a little bit of grated garlic and ginger again, and a pinch of salt. We'll get that going over medium until it bubbles and thickens, add another cornstarch slurry, and that's your sweet and sour sauce.
A classic and nostalgic flavor. If you grew up picky like I did, this is like the only thing I would eat when my parents got Chinese food. I don't understand how something so based in ketchup can taste way better than ketchup. But this one's good, 7.3 out of 10.
To wrap up level 3, we've got a simple garlic aioli. I've got 3 tablespoons of mayo and a good bit of grated garlic, another splash of lemon juice, and a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, a pinch of salt and pepper, and there you have a garlic aioli. I was excited for this one.
I think garlic aioli goes really well as a spread for sandwiches, but it also does well as a dipping sauce for chicken. 7.8 out of 10.
Alright, we've got 5 sauces left. These are going to be the most sophisticated and least common in my opinion for dipping chicken. I wonder if any of these can become new favorites in my household at least. Starting with an African pili pili or peri peri sauce. I'm going to make this in a molcajete because that's going to help emulsify it. You can use any spicy red pepper. Again, I'm going to use this red jalapeno that I have. I'm also adding a chunk of garlic before I pound these into a paste. Then I'll add a good glug of olive oil and a splash of apple cider vinegar. Also a few drops of lemon juice, and I'll mix this up until it becomes thickened and emulsified. Finish with some more paprika for color, and you've got a pretty orangey and spicy oil-based pili pili sauce.
That one's really good. It might be the spiciest sauce I have in this spread, but the olive oil helps to balance it out and also bring a really nice flavor. 8 out of 10.
Next is an Asian-inspired peanut dipping sauce. Starting with like a tablespoon of peanut butter and a teaspoon of soy sauce, also a teaspoon of corn syrup or honey, a splash of rice vinegar, and some minced garlic and ginger. Mix that up, and if you feel like it's too thick, you can add some water to thin it out. But let's see how the combination of peanut butter and chicken goes.
I like peanut butter and soy sauce as a base for things like stir fries, and peanut butter is just so versatile, but this is not the best type of sauce to dip chicken in. It's kind of thick. Maybe I should have thinned it out a bit. So not bad, but not the best. 6.7 out of 10.
All right, number 3 is a maple Dijon. It's gonna be 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard and a couple of teaspoons of maple syrup. Please use the real stuff if you got it. A splash of apple cider vinegar and some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Feels similar to honey mustard, but how does it stack up?
Obviously very similar to the honey mustard, but I just feel like it's kind of trying to be that. And honey is way cheaper than maple syrup as a sweetener, but I can't knock it that much because of how much I love honey mustard. 8.2 out of 10.
Alright, this is a classic sauce, but I don't know if it's been put on fried chicken a lot. Tzatziki. Starting with 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt. I need some grated cucumber, and my microplane is already dirty, so I'm going to use that to grate some in. Some more minced garlic as well. Then a handful of fresh chopped dill, a splash of olive oil, and a little salt and pepper. Mix that up, and this is one of the most refreshing sauces you can make. Let's try it on the nuggies.
Obviously very similar to ranch, but I thought I would like ranch better than this. I don't know what it is, but the freshness of the cucumber stands out in this, and I think I like it a little better than the ranch. I would have never thought to dip fried chicken in this, but it's amazing. 8.8 out of 10.
Last up is an ají verde, which is a Peruvian green spicy sauce. This is also traditionally made with a blender or a food processor, but this is too small to fit in there, so I just minced everything up nice by hand. I've got like half of a green jalapeno and some chopped cilantro, some more minced garlic, and then like a teaspoon each of mayo and sour cream, a splash each of lime juice and some olive oil, finished with salt and pepper, and this is also another multi-purpose sauce that you can use on tons of things. But what do I think about it on the nuggets?
It's got very similar vibes to chimichurri, but I think the mayo and sour cream help this out. I think for something like a dipping sauce, you need that creaminess factor as opposed to just like the olive oil that chimichurri has. This one also works really well. I'll have to give it an 8.7 out of 10. I'm gonna have to go back when I edit and make sure that I'm not messing this up, but I think these are my top 4. Honey mustard, ranch, tzatziki, and ají verde. Did you think any of these would be in my top list, or did you think any of the other ones were gonna win? Let me know. And of course, what sauces did I forget? Obviously, I can't make 100 sauces at home. This was a heck of a lot of work for somebody that doesn't really even have time to make videos at this time. Hopefully a topic like this is something that catches people's attention. If you have any ideas that you want me to do like this, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my favorite sauces here.
So there you have it. I'll tally up all my scores and show them to you. A lot of the good ones were not surprises to me, but there were a few surprises in there. This was definitely fun. I should have done this with some friends, but I guess I need to make some more friends. I hope this style of video was a little more enjoyable than some of my other videos. Let me know what you think so I can try to keep improving. I'm doing my best here, but I'm having a good time still. But like I said, let me know what sauces I missed and let me know what your favorites would be. Hopefully you can make some of these at home that you haven't tried before.
But that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. Be blessed, and I'll see you next time. Man, that hits. Someone come take the rest of this ketchup from me, please.